everyone, my name is Haley and welcome back or welcome to my channel. For today's video, I wanted to do my September TBR, but choose it from my TBR jar. So this is the first time I'm going to be doing something like this. I've never had a TBR jar before, and since I unhauled a lot of books in my last video, I thought it would be the perfect time to add all of the books I haven't read yet into the jar. I literally wrote down every single book that I haven't read yet on my physical TBR, cut them out, stuck them in the jar, and that is what we have here. So I know I've seen other people's TBR jars and it's prompts and they choose a book that way, but I don't even want a choice in what I read, so I just wrote down every book, put it in here, and that's how we're gonna choose it. I'm also not gonna look because they might have become unfolded, so I will make sure not to look when I choose. But there are some things I didn't include in here, so anything that is a second book in a series or a third book in a series, I did not put it in there. If I haven't started the series, I did put the first book. If I know I want to do a video or a reading vlog on certain books, I did not put it in here. I don't think there's anything else that I didn't put in here, but other than that, every book is in here. So I'm not sure how many I'm gonna choose. I think it depends on how long each book is when I choose it, because if they are all like over 300 pages, I'm probably not going to be choosing more than like 4 or 5, because I also have things on my Kindle and stuff like that that I want to read. But if they're shorter books, I'll obviously pick more. So for my September TBR, not everything is being chosen this way, it's just my physical TBR. So with all of that explanation out of the way, let's just get to choosing. I've never done this before, as I mentioned, so it's really exciting. I love not knowing what's gonna happen, so I'm just going to choose one here. Okay, what is it? The first one is The Bride Test. So the first book I chose was The Bride Test by Helen Hoang. She also wrote The Kiss Quotient, which I read and I enjoyed. And so I've had this for quite a while and I haven't read it yet, obviously. So I'm glad that I chose this because I am in a romance mood, but I'll go ahead and let you know what this is about. Kai Diep has no feelings. While he feels irritation when people move his things or contentment when ledgers balance down to the penny, but he doesn't experience big important emotions like love and grief. Rather than believing he processes emotions differently due to being autistic, he concludes that he's defective and decides to avoid romantic relationships. So his mother, driven to desperation, takes matters into her own hands and returns to Vietnam to find him the perfect mail-order bride. As a mixed-race girl living in the slums of Ho Chi Minh City, Esme Tran has always felt out of place. When the opportunity to marry an American arises, she leaps at it, thinking that it could be the break her family needs. Seducing Kai, however, doesn't go as planned. Esme's lessons in love seem to be working, but only on herself. She's hopelessly smitten with a man who believes he can never return her affection. Esme must convince Kai that there is more than one way to love, and Kai must figure out the inner workings of his heart before Esme goes home and is an ocean away. So, arranged marriage trope, forced proximity. I really love that Helen Hoang puts representation in her books. As you can tell from the synopsis I just read you, the male main character has autism. So I'm just really excited to get into this and tick off another Helen Hoang book from my list. Next one is, if I can grab it. Is this one? Okay. The next one is My Year of Rest and Relaxation. That is a completely different vibe from The Bride Test. Okay, so here we have My Year of Rest and Relaxation by Ottessa Moshfegh. This book was super popular like last year. I think it is still pretty popular. I bought it when the hype was around and I never read it. I have been really wanting to read it, but I feel like this is one of those books where you have to be in the mood to read it, and then I kind of forget that I have it, so I just never pick it up. So I'm actually really excited to have chosen this one, and I'll go ahead and read you the synopsis if you don't know what it's about already. Our narrator should be happy, shouldn't she? She's young, thin, pretty, a recent Columbia graduate, works an easy job at a hip art gallery, lives in an apartment on the Upper East Side of Manhattan paid for like the rest of her needs by her inheritance. But there is a hole in her heart, and it isn't just the loss of her parents or the way her Wall Street boyfriend treats her, or her sadomasochistic relationship with her best friend Reva. It's the year 2000 in a city aglitter with wealth and possibility. What could be so terribly wrong? Both tender and blackly funny, merciless and compassionate, My Year of Rest and Relaxation is a powerful answer to that question and a showcase for the gifts of one of our major writers working at the height of her powers. So I do know it's a very character-driven story, and I do know that it's pretty polarizing if people like it or not, but I feel like I'll enjoy it, and again, I don't know when I would have gotten around to it, so I'm really glad to have this on my list. Next one. Oh, is this one of them? Okay. Next one is IQ 84 by Haruki Murakami. That is a big one. Here is IQ 84, this massive book. I love the cover, but I should probably take this off while I'm showing it to you so that I don't rip it, because it's like a super thin paper. This might be a little bit of, honestly, I don't even know if I'll finish this in September. This is like a 900-page book. That is so long. Oh my god. Okay. Wow. I don't even know what to say at this moment, but I will read you the little synopsis. But this is such a pretty dust jacket, but very, very fragile. The year is 1984 and the city is Tokyo. A young woman named Aomame follows a taxi driver's enigmatic suggestion and begins to notice puzzling discrepancies in the world around her. She has entered, she realizes, a parallel existence which she calls IQ 84. Q is for question mark, a world that bears a question. Meanwhile, an aspiring writer named Tango takes on a suspect ghostwriting project. He becomes so wrapped up with the work and its unusual author that soon his previously placid life begins to come unraveled. As Omame's and Tango's narratives converge over the course of this single year, we learn of the profound and tangled connections that bind them ever closer. A beautiful dyslexic teenage girl with a unique vision, a mysterious religious cult that instigated a shootout with the Metropolitan Police, a reclusive wealthy dowager who runs a shelter for abused women, a hideously ugly private investigator, a mild-mannered yet ruthlessly efficient bodyguard, and a peculiarly insistent television fee collector. A love story, a mystery, a fantasy, a novel of self-discovery, a dystopia to rival George Orwell's, IQ 84 is Haruki Murakami's most ambitious undertaking yet. So there's definitely a lot of moving pieces in this book. I don't even know where to begin tackling this. If I could read 200 pages of this every day, I could knock it out in the beginning of September, but knowing me and my mood reading habits, that won't happen. So I guess we'll see how this goes, but it would be really nice to get this off of my physical TBR. I've had it for a really long time and it's very intimidating, so I guess it's a good thing that I chose it, but also like this is such a big book. Okay, I don't know why I'm scared. I can do this. I guess we'll pick one or two more books because this was a big curveball that I don't know why I wasn't expecting. But IQ 84, mix it, choose this one. The next one is Legendborn. This is Legendborn by Tracy Dion. It is a YA fantasy and it is inspired by Arthurian legend, which I'm also really interested in, and I don't read many, if any, books inspired by that, but I love history and that just seems super interesting to me. So I've had this for a while now as well, but I don't know why I just haven't picked it up. I know it's really popular, I know people love it, and I know I'm gonna love it, but I just haven't been reading a lot of YA fantasy lately. And this is also like 500 pages, so I feel like we should maybe only pick one more book and we'll see how it goes. But let me read you the synopsis. So it says, after her mother dies in an accident, 16-year-old Bree Matthews wants nothing to do with her family memories or childhood home. A residential program for bright high schoolers at UNC Chapel Hill seems like the perfect escape, until Bree witnesses a magical attack her very first night on campus, a flying demon feeding on human energies, a secret society of so-called Legendborn students that hunt the creatures down, and a mysterious teenage mage who calls himself a Merlin and who attempts and fails to wipe Bree's memory of everything she saw. The mage's failure reveals Bree's own unique magic and a buried memory with a hidden connection. The night her mother died, another Merlin was at the hospital. Now that Bree knows there is more to her mother's death than what is on the police report, she'll do whatever it takes to find out the truth, even if that means infiltrating the Legendborn as one of their initiates. She recruits Nick, a self-exiled Legendborn, and his own grudge against the group, and their reluctant partnership pulls them deeper into the society's secrets and closer to each other. But when the Legendborn reveals themselves as the descendants of King Arthur's knights and explain that a magical war is coming, Bree has to decide how far she'll go for the truth and whether she should use her magic to take down the society or join the fight. I love a good magic story. I love a good infiltrating, but whose side are we really on? Who's the good guy? Who's the bad guy? I love that, so really excited to get into this. And even though it is longer, I feel like it might be a quick read. It's not going to be as dense as My Year of Rest and Relaxation or IQ 84, so maybe this won't be too overwhelming. Okay, we're gonna pick one more because I thought I would pick some short books, but I haven't picked a short book at all. Let's go and pick this one. Okay. The last one is Life for Sale. Oh my god, I actually really want to read this. And it is kind of on the shorter side. Oh, yay, okay. So the last book that I chose is Life for Sale by Yukio Mishima. This book is just under 200 pages. It is another Japanese fiction book, and I've really been wanting to read it, so I'm really happy that I chose it. I feel like it's going to be a quick read, but also I love to sit and digest Japanese fiction, especially books like this, because they do touch on some heavier topics. And so while it might be a quick read, I feel like it's definitely going to leave an impression on me, so I will just let you know what the synopsis says. After botching a suicide attempt, salaryman Hanio Yamada decides to put his life up for sale in the classified section of a Tokyo newspaper. Soon interested parties come calling with increasingly bizarre requests, and what follows is a madcap comedy of errors involving a jealous husband, a drug-addled heiress, poisoned carrots, even a vampire. For someone who just wants to die, Hanio can't seem to catch a break, and he finds himself enmeshed in a continent-wide conspiracy that puts him in the crosshairs of both his own government and a powerful organized crime syndicate. By turns wildly inventive, darkly comedic, and deeply surreal, in Life for Sale, Yukio Mishima stunningly uses satire to explore the same dark themes that preoccupied him throughout his life. This kind of reminds me of No Longer Human by Osamu Dazai, where both authors used their own life as inspiration for the book, but it's not an autobiography. So yeah, I'm really excited to read this. A lot of Japanese fiction is very whimsical and plays into surrealism and other aspects of literature like that. So really excited to read this, and I feel like it's going to be a really good read. Well, that was a roller coaster and actually really fun. I feel like the only book I might have picked up this month, if it was up to me, would have been Life for Sale, because I've just been wanting to read it and I've been thinking about it. So it's really interesting to see what I've chosen, and thinking like I probably wouldn't have gotten to those other books anytime soon. So I feel like this mission was a success. I definitely got a really good mix of books. There is a rom-com, a literary fiction, 2 Japanese fiction, and a YA fantasy. So I feel like the only thing missing would have been like science fiction or a thriller. I feel like that's a pretty good spread. I'm really glad that I didn't get a lot of the same genre, because if I read a lot of the same genre consecutively, I'll feel a little bit burnt out and probably won't get around to finishing those. As I mentioned, I feel like the most intimidating one is going to be IQ 84, so I will have to get myself pumped and ready for that. But I feel like the other ones will be a breeze, and I won't let myself get derailed and not finish them. That is very important, because I have so many books that I'm in the middle of because I'm not interested, or something just makes me put it down for some reason, and then I get sidetracked and I don't finish it. That's a whole other video that I'm planning on doing, but these books I'm going to try my hardest to finish. If you want to see like what else I want to read in September that's not on my physical TBR that maybe I have on my Kindle, or if you want to see like a Kindle haul or anything like that, let me know. I have tons of books on there that I really want to get to, and if I complete all 5 of these or need a break, I'll switch over there and read some other stuff that has been on my radar. But if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, comment, like, subscribe, all of that stuff. Let me know if you'd like to see me do this for another month's TBR. I won't be doing it for October because I want to curate a spookier TBR for October, but if you want to see me do it for any other time, let me know. That's it for this video. I hope you guys are staying safe and healthy, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!